welcome back to the Ask Johnny channel. You know, it's all very well, these ancient people making these huge bloody big structures out of stone, but some of the stones were so bloody big they wouldn't have been able to move them. G'day Johnny, here we are back for another exciting episode. G'day Johnny, yeah, let's get into it. What have you got for us? This is from Rashish, and Rashish is in India. Hello everybody in India, keep watching us over there, there's plenty of you. But Johnny Rashish says, Johnny, your recent videos on ancient technologies and huge stone structures have been fabulous. But how did they move them though, Johnny? How on earth did they do it, signed Rashish? Thanks Rashish. Johnny, how big are these bloody stones? Are they huge stones, or some of them are bloody enormous, Johnny? We've highlighted this one on previous shows, but it's probably the most amazing. Have a look at this one.
The famous unfinished obelisk of Egypt, which sits in a granite quarry in Aswan, is known for its massive size, but also because the work that was carried out on it was never completed. Had it been finished, it would have been the largest obelisk ever constructed by ancient Egyptians.
Christ almighty, it's bloody enormous.
Okay, this is the unfinished obelisk at Aswan. Estimated to have been 1,200 tons had it been completed.
Now they haven't even left enough bloody room around it to get down there and cut the bloody thing. So what the hell's going on?
Bedrock, particularly rose granite, with a high concentration of quartz, which puts it at a 7 out of 10 on the Mohs scale of hardness, thus debunking what modern Egyptologists claim were the tools utilized in order to carve this stone.
Now look at some of those marks, Johnny. You just don't go around making marks in rocks like that for the fun of it.
Demonstrated that if they were utilizing bronze chisels and stone hammers, they couldn't possibly have made these types of incisions on the underbelly of this stone obelisk. And in fact, you can clearly see in these photos that the angle would not have allowed anyone to make these type of cuts with those type of tools. And despite the fact that those tools weren't strong enough to do it in the first place, i.e. the bronze chisels, clearly some other explanation is required. Now the argument...
It's a bloody 1,000-ton or some bloody thing, Johnny. What were they going to do with it? Perhaps that's why it's still laying there. But surely they're not that stupid. Yeah, sure. Now once you did cut it out, how the hell were you going to get it out of that pit and move it all bloody wherever you're going to move it to without the thing cracking in half or busting or whatever, and then raising the thing up to touch the clouds? How are they going to bloody do it? They do look like bloody machine bloody cuts. Hey Johnny, are you trying to tell me there's people back then now that were cutting out these bloody huge megaliths? And of course we just did a hard-hitting expose on Pumapunku, and it's got that bloody huge big sandstone block in there. They reckon it weighs 121 tons.
Beirut, the capital of Lebanon. Now we're heading inland, east, to the Bekaa Valley to visit the Baalbak temple complex, one of the most amazing structures of antiquity. But the most mysterious and intriguing part of the Baalbak complex, which still causes controversy among historians and architects, and what most tourists come to say, perhaps, is the megalithic foundation of the Temple of Jupiter, which is also called the Baalbak Terrace. On the western side, on top of the megalith's base, there are 3 largest stones, so-called Trilothons. The size of the Trilothons is 20 meters long, about 5 meters wide and 4 meters high. The weight of each Trilothon is about 800 tons.
How many tons?
Is about 800 tons. Unfortunately, neither photo nor video can convey the scope of this colossal structure.
You couldn't do it today, Johnny. If you got some contractor to do it, he'd charge you. Well, you wouldn't be...
The pregnant woman of Baalbak, for example. A megalithic stone many attribute as the largest ever man-moved stone. Academia stresses that it couldn't be moved any further.
Johnny, have a look at this bloody Chinese thing.
In the midst of actually cutting some of the largest stone megaliths ever found on Earth, revealing in all its glory just how these stones were indeed detached from the Earth's bedrock, a question which had also remained unanswered for many years. Yang Shan also reveals invaluable clues to how they could have been moved.
Christ almighty, yeah, have a look at the bloody thing.
Body weighed 8,799 tons, and the steel's apparent head weighed 6,118 tons.
Oh, the Chinese, they just get the thousands of people banging away at it. It's bloody enormous. But I keep going back to that one in Egypt, Johnny. There's some bloody strange marks around that bloody obelisk.
And now we get to the really interesting part of the video, aside from the Great Obelisk. But look at these intriguing, I would call scoop marks. These are very regular and approximately 2 feet in width. And this is a small obelisk that was being worked on when, for some reason,
Yeah, Johnny, how do you explain these bloody marks around it?
It hurts, Mark? This is literally the mainstream explanation.
Well, perhaps they're waiting for aliens to come down and give them a hand.
This is literally the mainstream explanation for how this entire quarry was accomplished, including this 1,200 ton, 140 foot long obelisk. Literally, that is the explanation. Which doesn't make sense, especially when you look at all the scoop marks, which looks more indicative, and I'm not suggesting, but looks more indicative of sandblasting. I've heard other people.
They don't look like chisel marks at all.
in Aswan. Again, you can see they're quite even. And here, you can also see that both the left-hand and right-hand sides were being worked, probably at the same time, in order to liberate what would have become an obelisk from the bedrock. So what kind of technology would this have been in order to do this kind of work? I would say very advanced technology, and I would also say that that tells us that this was not done by the Romans, nor by the dynastic people, but is far, far older and was the work of the megalithic builders who were responsible for other things such as the boxes at the Serapeum of Saqqara and the Great Pyramids and other megalithic mysteries located in Egypt.
Now, once you did cut it out, how the hell were you going to get it out of that pit and move it all bloody wherever you're going to move it to without the thing cracking in half or busting or whatever? And then perhaps the bloody aliens were going to come down, Johnny, and raise the thing out of its pit, raise it up to the sky and bloody aliens? No, I don't think they're bloody aliens, Johnny, but no, they wouldn't do that. You're right, Johnny. You got to ask yourself, Johnny, what the hell is going on in bloody Egypt? And the Ask Johnny channel, we're not going to bloody stop until we can come up with some bloody definitive solutions.